It is the South in orange. They're attacking the goal on the northern side. And the North Tobago Central team, or East team, in the blue and yellow, they're attacking the goal on the southern side.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Manny Ramjohn Stadium, where we are here for the secondary schools all-star weekend game. Yesterday was a skills competition which went off quite well, and today we have an all-star game between the North, East and Tobago playing in orange versus a South Central team which will be playing in the black and yellow or gold.
South
uniform. Yes.
We said South, yeah? South where?
Yeah, South is in the orange uniform. The two Asin Garcia and Tyrell Emmanuel, and Northeast and Central, Northeast and Tobago, sorry, are playing in the orange and black uniform. So we're here. The game has kicked off. It's quiet at the moment. Both teams trying to settle down, knock the ball around, get accustomed to a very nice Manny Ramjohn field. And Alvin, welcome to you. And it's very nice for me to be here, and then very nice for you to make it down from the north to see this game.
Hey, hi Alvin. And Alvin meeting Alvin, they can't be despaired, could they? It's going to be difficult to do. Good evening to you people. Just a very interesting type of match, an unusual one where a lot of these players are coming from the different schools and maybe with different styles in their play because they've been all together for about 4 months in their respective teams. So they're feeling it around now. But what we did realize from the tournament, from the season, is that some of them are very talented. And what I expect to see is a lot of them trying to express their talent to the audience at this point in time, even much more than just the collective process of team play.
Yes, many of these players, from the pick of the coaches, many of them have played together. For the South players especially, I know that many of them live in the same communities together, and they often play against each other on a regular basis in just community football, and they have been playing against each other from a very young age as well. Many of the Shiva boys teams, one of the teams that was very outstanding this year, are representative on the South team, as well as some of the boys from South and Central, I should say, as well as the boys from Presentation and from Carapachana. On the ball now, Garcia, one of the outstanding players at this age, and not a bad shot coming from number 4, Sherwin Noel, from the South Central team.
Well, that was a pretty good try for a start, so maybe that's a sign of things to come.
Yes, hasn't seemed to settle down yet. A lovely pass, long 35, 40-yard pass, which we don't see often, even at the senior level. Went directly, and there's a wide player taking on his man. The cross wasn't up the mark, and goalkeeper easily collected.
Number 1, number 2, Miles Barrington. Number 4, Sherwin Noel. Number 5, Ryan Richardson. Number 3, Matthew Neal. Number 7, Gordon Rocky. Number 6,
because of the fact that a lot of these players have come from the same school, particularly from the South. We should see a bit of chemistry from them.
Yes, especially in the South midfield. I'm seeing both Garcia and Emmanuel, the number 6 and the 10. They have a look-alike Shiva boys. They're playing there, as well as the starting defensive midfielder for Shiva, Keon Mason, also a national youth under 20 player. So the three of them have played together for quite a while, and this year, and they were outstanding this year. So there should be some chemistry there as well.
Well, the thing about this is that they're going to be exposed now in a special way, simply because a lot of these guys may already be thinking in terms of going to universities somewhere across the world, and this will be an option for coaches to have a good look at them. The individual skill, if nothing at all, but the understanding of the game as well, Alvin.
Yes, and people feel that sometimes you have to express yourself only on the ball. Coaches who are with their soul will recognize a good player, especially when he's not on the ball. And many coaches look to see what a player is doing when he's not on the ball. Not only when he has the ball, but when he does not have the ball, what does he do? Does he help his team in any way? Does he defend? Does he look to see where the next move might come from so that he can get in a proper position? Anticipation. So coaches, smart enough coaches, and many of the coaches are coming down, are well-experienced coaches, and they are able to distinguish good from bad players.
Well, that's good. So we will be at least look at them and see it reflect some sort of a coach's work in the exercise. But what is more important is in this day and age, and you're right, there are so many things that coaches look for. And one of them is how much ground you cover in 90 minutes. I think that's one of the vital things now, because that's one of the ways to know if you're really following the ball, if you're supporting it, if you're running into good attacking positions, and if you haven't lost concentration anywhere along the way.
Yes, and the technical ways of measuring that as well. So it's not easy to hide these days as it used to hide. Players could easily hide in the old days. And they may have done one thing good, but what have you done for me in the rest of the 90 minutes?
That's correct. That's correct.
And here we see some good defensive play from
Barrington, is it?
No, Barrington's on the other side.
Okay.
Good defense. Yes, from the north right back.
North. Zone finger is a combination of the North Tobago and East. Number 15, Brooklyn Brooks. Number 3, the 4C Solandi.
Brooklyn Brooks.
Number 4, Joshua Araho Wilson. Number 9, Ronaldo Boyce. Number 13, Kishon Akshaw.
Hackshaw, who just tried to trap the ball. A ball tripped by Nanton from St. Mary's, going to Hackshaw. Hackshaw was one of the outstanding players for the Trinity East team this year. He and Nickel Ord, another player out on the field there. Michael Grayson, their coach, did a good job with the Trinity East team. They finished middle of the table after a promising start. And those three players, Hackshaw, and their goalkeeper Emmanuel John, were the three outstanding players for Trinity East. Emmanuel John, a national youth goalkeeper, not on the field at the present time.
The combination of the North, Tobago and East players against the South Central.
This number 4, Noel.
Yes, Noel. We saw him just now up in front taking a shot, and he's back there defending as well. Number 11, Hospitales, has been an outstanding player too for the presentation team, and he is somebody who can play multiple positions. I've seen him play in defensive midfield as well as attacking midfield roles. And I see him now here playing wide on the left wing. One of the outstanding players, and Alvin, a player who you might want to take a look at, is the number 7, Jordan Riley. He is a young player who has caught the eye of a number of people all around Trinidad and Tobago. He's small in stature but has a good technical ability, and seems to be a little head and shoulders in his knowledge of the game above the others.
Yeah. Okay, we have a look at him and follow his movements in the game. Yes. This is Anton Samuel trying to get control in center field. Is that one of the pair you were talking about, number 10?
Number 10 is Garcia.
Garcia, right.
Garcia from Shiva Boys, and
right.
number 6 is Emmanuel from Shiva Boys also. And here's another Shiva Boys man, Mason, on the ball at the moment.
Yeah.
Here it goes to Jordan Riley, who is turned back to Mason now. That's Mason on the ball, and he's knocked it back again to another Shiva Boys player.
Well, what I was mentioning earlier on, the number of Shiva players, you can see a little bit of cohesion among them.
Yes.
The ball is being passed around and they're not waiting to be caught in possession. It's a sign of a team that was prepared.
Yes.
You know, but when they clash with somebody from one of the other teams who might be running away from it, you might find a bit of difficulty. But at this point in time, it did look smooth for them.
Yes. They seem to have had the added advantage, and that's how sometimes coaches do it. If you're going to put together, sometimes they even do it at national level, where if you have to prepare a national team very quickly, you might just want to choose players from 2 or 3 teams and not look for players from all over the country if you have to prepare a team quickly.
Yeah. The South on the move.
The technical staff for the North Zone team: head coach Ronald Daniel, assistant coach Gilbert Barton, goalkeeping coach Trevor Nottingham, and the physio Alicia Delphi.
South again in orange, going forward. Here's Shiva Boys, played to Jordan Riley. Let's see if Jordan Riley has a crack. Yes, he does. But an excellent piece of goalkeeping by Poon Lewis there. Yeah. Jack Poon Lewis, the QRC goalkeeper who started off the year nursing an injured right foot and came to QRC in the middle of the year. QRC were able to recover their season after he came in goal about the middle of the season.
Yeah, I think Lincoln Phillips would have loved to hear that. QRC.
Yes, QRC has had a lot of outstanding goalkeepers pass through. Lincoln Phillips, in my opinion, the best of all of them.
Oh, I share that view, without a doubt.
And there's Riley again with a cross. He's somebody who always seems to be involved in the game, whether it's taking free kicks, corners.
You mean Riley?
Riley,
Yes.
number 7. Always getting involved in the game,
Yeah.
and seems to like the ball.
Yeah.
Like to be on the ball and have confidence to play with it.
Let's see a little bit of movement for these guys. It's a little bit ragged for the Northerners, maybe because they're sharing from so many schools. You know, they're not accustomed to the way one's likely to run, or you know. I think there's a little bit of of hesitation in what they do. It simply means that the exercise is what it is. It's to demonstrate good players. Good players got to learn real fast.
Yes.
Fortunately for South, they have 5 or 6 Shiva players.
Well, Alvin, you and I will probably give them 15 or 20 minutes to get accustomed to each other, and then we better start seeing things.
What's going on? Are you getting soft?
Because of the nature of the nature of the group we see these days. My standards have perhaps, I wouldn't say dropped, but the nature of the group, I just being realistic.
That's one of the guys, yeah?
Yes, Garcia. Yes, there's Mason now on the ball. He turns. He has the ability to make very nice turns in the middle of the pitch.
Yeah.
And here is Garcia again on the ball. Emmanuel, who similar look-alike player, is the number 6, a little further up front, but didn't quite get in. And there's the North team on the ball. There's Matthias Granger turning St. Mary's player, and he tries to get his fellow St. Mary's player Nanton going, but it didn't quite work. Yeah, this is Beal coming up. He did a lot of this overlapping with the Shiva Boys team, so he's accustomed to going forward. And he's often been in and around the penalty box, and one of the key quarter-final intercall games he played, he scored an excellent goal after overlapping and coming up the left side.
Okay.
Here he's on the ball again, tried to trap but couldn't get a hold of it.
Have a very good pass. Let's see if number 7 will. Oh, good tackling there by the tough guy, number 8. A little bit of ball on a lot of players.
Yes.
Is that the things you used to get, Alvin?
Well, I think these players these days are protected very much so these days. They're protected a lot. We never used to be protected like that. And
of course, we had shin guards.
yeah, shin guards. We didn't even have those. Those came into the game quite late. And if I say we didn't have shin guards, I'm dating myself.
Yeah, I never used to use it until a couple of kicks when I got about 17 or 18. One of the coaches gave me a Reader's Digest. He gave me 2, one to put in it, and it was better than the shin guard. I think I get the distinct impression that the Southerners are more into a desire to play well and win.
Well, we heard from their coaches that they were really into this game and they really wanted to win it. They were taking it very serious, and that goes well for their coaches who have been able to G them up or to psych them up to try and win this game and to put on a good performance. I have always told players, every time you step out on the field, you should be looking to give one of your best performances, because you never know, especially as a young player who's sitting down in the stand watching you.
Yeah.
It may be the next person looking for a quality player like Dwight York, who came as a teenager and went up to England and had a contract and a great career there. You never know who's in the stand.
Oh yeah, and some players are a bit more advanced educationally in terms of the game than others, so therefore they catch the eye a lot quicker.
Yes.
As you just mentioned, the number 6 here and number 7. You can see a certain degree of talent and understanding of the game. If you look at number 6, you see he picks his head up rather quickly, and he doesn't get possession of the ball when he's in center field. He's distributing it and going up to that. These are the things that I think that the coaches in the United States who may be watching them would want to see out of them. Struggling with number 13.
Yes, normally he's a technically gifted player. He was on the national under-17 team with Russell Atapi, the team that was not as successful as we thought they might be, but he played an attacking midfield player, and today he's playing in one of the wide positions, which he also normally plays in. He has technical skills that are a little above the average secondary school player, and I'd like to see him express that.
Please be advised that
Yes, he comes from the Trinity's school that is coached by Michael Grayson, one of the outstanding coaches of the college league for many years.
Yeah, Mike, I got a friendly game with him early in the season. And I saw some of his players. And actually, he's got some of my players from the academy going to that school, so it was interesting. Lost his composure there because he was early enough to they knew the keeper, and by just changing his direction. But that's the price to pay for an experience.
Yes, Jordan Riley he did all that he was supposed to do. He got past his defender nicely, and got in. He had a chance to bury it in the far post and just put it just beyond the post.
Don't worry, it's going to get better, but it's good if we see it at this early stage, and you can sort of judge
once again, be advised that you can
rather than
receive
say
your water
this is a class player now, because what we're looking at is potentially good players. You've got to watch them another year or two to see what they're really made of.
Please check the canteen and you can receive your water before we.
There's a long pass by Nikosi Salandi. He's trying to find an overlapping player. This is a chance. This is a chance, and he should have finished it off. And that is very unlike Ronaldo Boyce. One of the things that he was good at Samoa this year and last year was for his finishing ability. And he prides himself on finishing. And that was an easy chance that he should have put away.
Because it was on his left foot. All he had to do is change his direction and go to the far post.
Yes.
He went to flick with the outside of his left foot. Again, not understanding when to use the skill you have.
Yes. And as I said, unlike him, because usually he's quite a decent finisher. There's Garcia turning in midfield, trying to play a 1-2, but Granger was able to read it. And there it goes up to Ronaldo Boyce again up front for the North Tobago East team.
Well, you could rent that part of the field out because there's no width in it.
Yes.
Running right across.
You're right, and it has a position that Beal could have easily taken up, as the defenders were already outnumbering the forwards up front, and he should have taken the chance to go up there and fill that hole.
So Samuel is going right on the right side, trying to see if he can build from here. He too seems to have a good work rate. He's been up and down on the right side, which is a good sign. They're beginning to put together a few passes.
Yes.
Give them some credit for that one.
Yes.
They built nicely for the goal, actually.
Yes, in fact,
the
chance at goal came from a quick counter-attack and a very good cross across the goal.
Yeah.
And as I said, I'm very disappointed in Boyce finishing on that occasion, and I'm sure he's perhaps more disappointed than I am as a result. Here comes the North Tobago East team again.
It's good first time. A little bit slow on that one. And Samuel seemed to be outdoing him there.
Yeah, and Mason finds Riley, and there's Garcia turning in the middle of the field.
Garcia
finds
to Garcia too.
Tyrell Emmanuel comes across and plays his wing back. They're trying to knock the ball around. Richardson goes to...
This is Carol Emmanuel here?
Yes.
Okay. Number 6. I thought he was a Garcia.
No.
Okay.
Garcia is playing at 6 and Emmanuel is playing at 10.
Okay, Emmanuel.
They look alike. They very much.
Yeah.
Garcia has the armband on in 6.
Oh, in 6?
Yes.
Okay.
And Tyrell Emmanuel is in 10. You see them both with the bobtail, look very similar.
Okay.
Emmanuel's a little taller,
okay.
And Garcia has the armband on. Perhaps that's the way that we could distinguish them.
Yeah.
There's Emmanuel now playing to Garcia. Garcia goes across to Riley. Riley plays it back to Mason. And there comes an overlapping Miles Barrington.
That's a good effort,
We'd like to recognize the ball attendants, and they are from the Dunstan Williams Football Academy. We thank very much Mr. Dunstan Williams, who has been the assistant coach of the South team, for providing us with the ball attendants from the Dunstan Williams Football Academy.
So both these goalkeepers are, in truth and fact, probably the best that they have seen in the league this year.
Well, it depends on who you speak to. Definitely, we feel that Denzel Smith is an outstanding goalkeeper and has been perhaps one of the outstanding goalkeepers in the league.
Yeah.
But there's also an injured goalkeeper, not here today, Jabari Gray, who many, from presentation, who many feel was the best goalkeeper on show. Not that he is the best goalkeeper, but that in games that he played in. I personally like Emmanuel John from Trinity East. He's on the bench today. So there are a number of very good goalkeepers around the college league at this present time, and it bodes well for the future.
Well, it's good, and it's good that they have somebody like yourself looking around, because people go to watch the game. They don't go to look into the game to see who's doing well and who could do a lot better and that sort of stuff.
Well, one of the things I've done recently as I've had more time, Alvin, is to try and see as many games as I can. And when I go to the games, we try to see if we could scout and perhaps have a little an air of the coaches who are around and the technical director, your own son, so that they will tell us how they feel, and often at least my opinion is still respected, so I will continue to give it.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's important. Unfortunately, I don't have the amount of time that you have, because I have, in my old age, decided to continue with my academy team, which takes care of three training days a week and a match.
Yes.
So, it makes it difficult. But don't worry, I see it on television every now and again.
With Steve David, this will be held every Monday at 8 p.m.
Yes, and here comes Tyrell Emmanuel, goes with a nice crack with his left foot, but Poon Lewis is equal to the task and is right there ready to go. Beeler comes up again from his left back spot and cuts it off, and again, Garcia in possession. Plays it to
I don't think he'd get there.
Yes, he should. And again, Riley himself should have been coming in. That was our chance to score. And wide players should look to become goal-scoring forwards when a cross is coming, especially deep into the final two.
Nickel Orr with the ball there.
Yes, Nickel Orr. He is a very versatile player with Nickel Orr on the national under-17 team. He played both in midfield on the left-hand side, and he also played at left wing back. And this year, Granger had him playing right up front for Trinity East. He played as a striker, Nickel. And I think he likes the striker position because a number of games that I saw him playing, he reveled in playing in that striker position. And in one of the intercall preliminary games, actually had a hat-trick scoring in 3 goals from that position up front. He was injured for a good part of the season as well. He wasn't able to showcase his talent as much as some of the others.
Well, what we're seeing now is sparks of brilliance here, there, and everywhere. We're seeing an improvement in the building up of the play on both sides now. It's beginning to look as good on the north as it does on the south. In some cases, what we look in this time, and I expect that from youth players, they do not try to put the opposition under pressure. These guys can pick the ball up in the back and have 10, 15, 20 yards free that they could cover ground. Now, I was listening. I listen all the time to all these world-class coaches, a lot of whom I know. And Jose Mourinho is saying, I'm not concerned with who does what. They are defenders and they are attackers. They must defend and attack. What he didn't say is that they must be challenging defenders as well, not just supporting defenders, because they'll stand down in the back. And this is what we're not seeing. Look at the numbers here. Why should so many people stay up here for a ball that's within the goal? What about those two guys going forward to create more opportunities or confusion in the box?
Yes, we saw.
It could be more confusion than opportunities,
Yeah.
because if you have 15 guys in there, the keeper is confused.
Yeah, and Alvin, that is why I think the players are doing that because the information is coming down from the coaches.
Exactly.
And we have to train our coaches better to be aware of situations like that.
Yeah.
And a number of people say they don't like coaches talking to players during a game.
Well,
but often as part of the educational process that you can correct them when it's happening right in front of them.
It is, and I expect the young coaches to do that, Alvin. I don't expect the experienced one to do it, because my question to them is, what were you doing in the practice sessions?
Yes.
But the young coaches can get accustomed to saying, hey, get into the space, there's a man on.
Yes.
You know, and until your players learn to communicate properly.
Yes,
Something that you have to accept at this level, particularly with the coaches, because they're not really experienced just yet. What a good shot. What a wonderful shot.
Yes, that came from Kieran Mason.
Is that the Mason guy?
defensive
Yes.
midfielder who has pushed up into an attacking position, and he got the best of that, and Poon Lewis could only look and hope. and his hope came true because he saw the post help him out, and it was a wonderful shot, the best shot we've seen for the
Well,
afternoon.
when Mason is going home, they're going to ask him, well, how did you play? Did you have a shot at goal? And he said, yeah, I had a great shot at goal. Where did it end up for a throw? How do you explain that? Because it was a wonderful shot.
Yes.
You know.
Yes, and we saw Beal be part of that initial build-up. He overlapped well and got a ball inside the box, and that ball fell nicely to Mason, whose thunderous shot hit the post.
Yeah.
So as you say, we've seen snippets of good forward play,
Definitely.
good midfield play, and the defenses have outfitted themselves quite well as well.
Yeah, they have. Lifting his foot too high. But what I would love you to look at here, and maybe in the next 2 years you'd see an improvement in them. Look at the amount of them that within 5-6 yards of the ball as defenders are not going for it. It's easy to see. And it gives so much opportunity of freedom to the other players that they can compose themselves and do something very constructive with it. When in truth and fact, if they're under pressure, like for instance this one, nobody's approaching. Look at him. He's covering a lot of ground. Yes? He's free to lift his head and choose the best pass. If he was confronted, it would have been a different story.
Yes, and Alvin, that is why I have a big problem with the formations that are being used now, where there's one forward, and oftentimes that one forward has to initially start the defensive responsibilities.
Well, you know, Alvin,
and one forward going against four, you'll never get the ball from him.
That's right, but you know what? I was talking to the young coach who's out here to look and scout this for one of his universities, and he says, you know, I'm going to change to the 3-3-1. I tell him, I said, look, I don't know phone numbers, but what do you mean? He says, well, the 3-3 system. I said, listen, I have learned for many, many years, systems don't win football matches, players do. And until you understand the strength or weaknesses of your players, you may need 5 people in the back, or you may need 3, depending on how strong they are. I said, and this is a matter of surveys over there. Alf Ramsey started that by saying there were 80 yards across. I want one that could cover 20 yards on each side, so I'm all around. If they get better, I'd loosen them. If they get worse, I'll strengthen them in terms of numbers. And you know, these are the things that these guys need to understand. They need to. Do you realize in the English Premier League right now, everybody's using 3 at the back?
Yes.
Because they see the 2 great teams in the world doing it. But you know what? They are also giving up goals. They're also giving up goals. So maybe it's something that's left to be proven. Look at the space. Look at the space.
So Mason feels that he could kick another goal.
That's right.
This time with the left foot, but this time not as accurate. And definitely the technique there was not as good as his right foot.
That's what I was talking about. Look at the space you're giving him to push that ball, take 3 steps, look up, see where the keeper is. But somebody must confront the ball and let him have to play 2 or 3 options of a pass, whichever one he wants. But they need to get a little bit closer. That's a good run. That's a very good run. Oh, good football, that. pass it back to the keeper, Alvin.
Yes, I thought he should have taken an extra touch.
I thought so too.
Yeah, he should have taken an extra touch and then give us something that would make the keeper safe.
Yes. I'm impressed with number 8. His vision is good. He seems to have control of midfield in the best way that he could.
Yes, well, he's a national under-20 player.
Oh, is he?
Yes,
okay.
Mason, and he should.
You look at him, he's looking his
yes,
head around, he's showing around, he's going to change his side. Beautiful.
He should be showing at a game like this.
That's right.
He's already played international football. Quite a few games for the Trinidad under-20 team, so he's played against the Curaçaos and the Panamas and whatnot, so that he has had the experience of traveling abroad with Trinidad youth team. So it's important that he show up, above some of the others that we've seen.
Yeah. Well, bit of a delay for something, maybe a substitution or something.
A substitution.
I notice your good friend and former player, Ian Bain, is in town.
Yes, well, we see Ian Bain. He's definitely come to watch the game. He's very interested in Matthias Granger, a boy from St. Mary's who he has a lot of respect for, and thinks that Matthias Granger, who's playing as the stopper, central defender there, number 8, he feels that he has we know he has the academic qualification, and he thinks that he has the way he played this year, he has the ability to be able to perhaps be one of the candidates for a scholarship.
Yeah, is he still targeting players for Howard, is it?
Well, Howard being one of the universities, but there are quite a few who Ian has been in touch with the coaches, having spent so many years in the US and played with so many coaches.
That's correct.
He has a wide range of coaches that he can get in touch with, and if players have the ability and have the academics, it's there for them to take advantage of.
Well, you're certainly going to see an eyeful here, if only because of the fact that some of these guys are demonstrating a good level of skill. As I said, we'll forgive them for real understanding at this point in time, because they're just starting to play the game, But it's a good exercise and a good exposure for them.
Once again, the substitution for the North team, leaving the field of play number 15, Luke Brooks, being replaced by number 12, Stephen Macano.
Stefan Macano has come into the team. And Brooks has come out.
Well, let's see if they can make anything out of this. Outside they've had some great approaches to the goal, but outside of the shot that hit the post, we didn't see anything extraordinary, did we?
No. Here's Michael Orr with his left foot, cultured left foot. Let's see what he can do from this wide position on the right side here. In swerving free kick. Gabriel Nandan from St. Mary's didn't quite get a hold of it. And a scuff shot, which was easily dealt with by the goalkeeper. Alvin, one of the things that people often complain about with Trinidad football, it's the speed of play. Our speed of play seems oftentimes very, not only at this level, but at the senior level in the professional league, it seems to be labored, and our speed of play, perhaps reflecting to what you have talked about, the closing down of the spaces quickly. Our speed of play is way too slow for the type of modern football that we expect from our players.
Yes, Alvin, and I'm glad you talk about the speed. Speed is for every player, regardless. He must try to get as fast as he can. But the use of speed is what is important. You don't want to have defenders holding on to the ball in terms of and wanting to pass it late, because his recovery must be really fast, or it's going to break down in the wrong place. The place that is important is speed of thought coming from the midfielders, where they have to think of which is the best pass and not which is the first pass. They're the playmakers. They're the ones to slow the game down. They're the ones to recognize, okay, now we are just entering the final third. Let's make one of these snap passes to increase the velocity of players in front. this is where this is where America has fallen apart, because they want to run fast from this one penalty area to the other one. And a lot of plays are breaking down in the center of the field. And their midfielders are now very mediocre, simply because they're not getting a chance to lift their heads and the way London down upon them, some of the others would have done it. They're just racing through to try to get to the other end. Anytime they play against the experienced teams, they're going to lose. And that has been their problem. It's not a problem that they can't solve if they handle it carefully.
But Alvin, you going as far as the USA. I think we have similar problems in Trinidad.
No, yeah, but what I'm saying is it is easy to see it up at the top end.
Yes.
Here, they all are doing it. You understand what I'm saying? Why I took the US as an example is because look at where they are, and look at the mistakes that they are making.
Yes.
And yet still they go to watch Manchester City or somebody, and these guys are walking in centre field, and then they explode in and around the box, and the ball is in the air to say, how the hell did that get there? And that's what I would like to see these players try to do. But it's going to take continuous work with the coaches. You don't do a coaching course and come out. You must be continually following the instructions from your instructors and see how well they are going to send the message to you until you perfect it. And that's what I would love to see in terms of speed.
And the shot we saw just now that was saved by Denzel Smith came from Jaden Powell, another former national under 17 player.
Number 14,
Jaden Powell. He has been a player who came to the forefront of the national under 17 team, and we are expecting a lot from him in the future. He has shown that he has some quality, especially with his left foot, and he has played at international level as a 15 and 16-year-old, and so just now was the first time I could really saw him get on the ball and do something that, productive. But I'd like to see him involved in the game a little bit more.
Yeah.
Here comes Gabriel Nanton from St. Mary's. Not a pass that...
well, in truth and fact, yeah, I agree. He should have played it straight to the man. There was a defender on the inside of him, so it would have been difficult. But these things can be improved. These guys are with quality. It's potential waiting to explode.
Yeah, there's Powell getting a decent ball across the Hackshaw.
Yeah.
And there's Gabriel Nanton.
Yeah, this is the one who just made the pass a few minutes ago, which means that if you look at his mileometer, you'd see a lot of miles on it, because he's been moving around quite a bit.
Yes, he has that ability to run a lot in midfield. For St. Mary's, and he often patrolled left, right, and centre for the St. Mary's midfield this year.
Yeah. I see Emmanuel, is it?
Emmanuel, yes, that's Emmanuel playing that ball to Riley. Riley plays a ball to, that looks like Barry Asun out there. Yes, it's similar to...
17, yellow?
No, Asun, on the south team.
Outside.
Yeah.
The south team.
Yes, yeah. That looks like Barry Asun.
Okay.
So that's Junior Asun who's out there. Barry, most of people know him by, played for the Shiva Boys team this year. One of their top forwards. Player with a lot of speed and always seems to be in and around the goal to try and score.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes.
If you put pressure there and you look, the defender loses the ball there, he's just outside his own penalty area.
Yes.
That's about 70% of a chance of getting a goal. And that's the reason why you don't want these defenders to hold the ball. Because look at the red shirts that were hanging around waiting to win it. Good tackle. Oh, my goodness. Oh, that's the star boy. He's been the most impressive player so far. Number 8. Alvin. Same guy who shot the ball
Mason.
at goal.
Mason, yes.
Okay.
Mason has really, in the last month or so, he has been quite outstanding in the middle of the field. He's a former Naparima player, and he's one of the players who all the controversy about going to Shiva this year was about. because of his registration problems.
Yeah.
But you know, it was a problem that should have been corrected by the officials of the school very early.
Absolutely.
And they delayed too long in trying to correct it. And as a result, Shiva Boys, as we know from now, are earmarked to be demoted. I'll say no more on that.
Yeah, but you know, what I'm saying is, things like this happen, Malvin, and you can't look at the coaches. The coaches are not even part of the school. You certainly could look at the PE teachers because they should be, but the most important man is the principal.
Yes.
Before any player represents your school, you've got to be able to clear it up. And that's what did not happen.
And you have the ultimate responsibility.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, great job. Now tidying up, good turn.
Okay,
and
yes.
He's gotten rid of Barry.
And you know, it will work 5 times, and when it loses once, it's a goal. That's why I don't want to take the chance at all. Well, that's an interesting quiz from all angles. What we have seen is the ready-made talented ones who have done a few things, and then some of the others who are just maybe a little bit too casual in their approach. But we have seen enough here to say that there is a fair degree of talent around.
Yes, the players who were outstanding during the season have come to show, especially the ones from South who we can easily identify, have come to the party here to show that they are the outstanding players at college, the secondary schools level, and they have come out here this afternoon and continued that trend. And a number of others have to step up in the second half if they want to again show themselves and allow the coaches to make a good impression in front of the coaches. Not all of it has to be on the ball. A lot of it has to be off the ball. And what do you do when you don't have it?
Welcome to the new season of Football 101. I am your host, Joshua De Matos.
Well, it's time for your weekly football news update. I love you, Messi.
Unfortunately, hey, kiss the badge, kiss the badge. Oh, what's that? Welcome to this edition of the interview, and as you can see, I'm not alone on the set. I have Marcus, a Liverpool fan, and I have Shakir.
Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Welcome to another edition of Scoreboard here on ACT, and it's always a pleasure to be in your company every Tuesday evening between the hours of 8 and 9.
You're now changing your question.
What I would say, Steve, is this.
My first question was, and roll back that tape.
I made my debut for Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur.
My responsibility was to get the ball and make things happen offensively.
In all the time we've played together, I've always been the decoy. Welcome to Field of Dreams on ACTN. My name is Steve David, and I'm your host.
The North team, a combination of Tobago, North and East.
And we have started the second half here.
With a combination of the South and the Central Zone.
We have the SSFL All-Star North East Tobago versus South, and the South playing in the red, slightly red or orange, whichever your perspective is, and the Northeast Tobago team playing in the dark and black jerseys and yellow pants. And so far we've been seeing the South team perhaps decidedly because of the advantage in a number of the Shiva boys team who know each other playing on the South team, being a member of this team, a little more cohesive in the first half. The North East Tobago team started getting into the game after about 15 to 20 minutes, and we've seen some good things from them. A chance from Ronaldo Boyce that he should have taken, was not finished, and there we go with him taking a shot to get off the second half, hoping to make up for what make it
along with the secondary school football league to provide this platform for the rest of players in Trinidad and Tobago.
Solo. Go downstairs. Zitana.
No. And there we saw Riley trying to skip past Rahul Wilson. Rahul Wilson was the captain of the Fatima team, his younger brother. We expect to see at some time come on as well and play. His younger brother, Justin Rahul Wilson, a national under 17 player as well. Joshua Rahul Wilson was the captain of Fatima and often played in wide, either in left back position or wide left in midfield, and had quite an outstanding season.
That's a pretty good ball there.
Yes, Hospitalis, number 11 from the South team.
I see.
That's Beal on the ball at present. Beal, a Shiva Boys player. He's going to come along all the way over to Barrington. Barrington, presentation player who high work rate up and down the field. And Emmanuel looking for the ball to feed, didn't quite get it.
Yeah, I think so, somewhere. Yeah. Are we noticing a little bit more defenders closing down? Look at like this.
Well, it looks like
looks very much as though they're closing down.
The coach has said that, look, if you want to win this, we've got to start doing something. This is Hackshaw with his dribbling ability. And there we have Hackshaw taking on everybody on the left-hand side of the South team. And to finish it off, Ronaldo Boyce making up for the easy chance that he missed in the first half.
But what we saw there was a good run.
Yes,
good individual run.
Yes.
There was a pressure put there, but he eluded that, ran to the byline. The mistake, there were three defenders there, but they were all protecting in their posts. Yes. All he had to square the ball back, and it was an open goal.
Yeah.
And a lot of our defenders, they follow the byline, and they don't know if they stop the cross ball from coming to the 6-yard box.
Yes.
The next one is to the keeper.
Yes.
So the mistakes are made all the time.
Yes, and Alvin, I even saw that at senior level in a game today, and I was talking wondering why, from a forward's perspective, that the forward didn't hold back at the 6-yard box instead of going all the way into the goal, where the chances of getting the ball are slim and none. And if he had held back, a ball could have been played backwards from the byline, just as that one was, and it would have been an easy tap-in on goal.
Yes.
And actually, to tell you the honest truth, I've seen a lot of international teams do the same thing. And the US is one of the better ones at training their players not to do that, to hold off at the 6-yard box and to come in actually 1 and 2 waves of players coming.
Did you see Altidore in that last game?
No, I missed it, and I still have it, yes.
Byline balls, he was running the right place, running onto the near post. So even if it was far, it was in front, it was straight to him, he would have had it first touch, and all he was doing knocking it in.
Well, forwards feed on the player going to the byline and pulling it back. And defenders should know that when you reach at that point, it's not space that you have to mark. You have to mark a player.
That's correct. You must be able to see the ball and the man all the time.
Yes.
Which is a basic function, but it's just not respected.
Yes.
They ball watch. So they follow the ball, and this man's gone somewhere. Next time you see him, he's kicking the ball in the goal.
Yeah. Anthony Samuel has impressed me, number 11. I haven't seen much of him this year, but on the field today, he has certainly done a lot of running and has put in the tackles and has spread the ball quite nicely.
What I like about him is his vision.
Yes.
You know, he looks around, he plays the best pass, not the first one. And he's always looking.
Yes, Alvin Riley has come off, I think, and in his place is number 16, Quinn Rodney. I think a player you would like. He has quick feet and...
Actually, I saw him 3 times and I was impressed.
He is a Shiva Boys player. Was on the fringes of the national team, didn't quite get to go with them on the last occasion for various reasons, but an impressive player.
But you know what? I saw him, and it's funny you say that, because I looked at him and I said, this guy's got some skill.
Yes.
But you know what? He chooses exactly what he's doing. He likes the side of the field.
Yes.
If you have that kind of skill, get in the middle of the field, give yourself 2 choices, left or right.
Yes.
And that expands your ability threefold, because they will know where to send you. You understand? But even when he gets into tight situations, boy, he's skillful.
Yes, there he goes. There he goes. He's looking to take on some people.
But you see, he's getting into the byline.
Yes.
And what if he was inside of there?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And these are the things, Alvin, that I want to see done in our youth football. The simple things, the things that we watch at and appreciate so much, and yet still, as soon as we have a kid coming up, you want to teach him to dribble in center field. How does that help you?
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? But some of these kids are doing it on their own because they're watching football all the time and they're learning, I'm sure. You don't learn everything in a week, but there's a lot you can learn, you know?
Number 12, Stefan Marcano, is out there, wasn't able to get away with his dribbles just now to get free, but still in possession of the ball, this time with a throw.
Number 14 coming on, is it? Number 14.
There's Mason again, who had a good first half, and there he goes, poor pass this time, and 14 Powell able to collect and play. There's Nicole trying to release, and there comes Rodney again with his dribbling ability and his acceleration. Miles Barrington back to Rodney. He should have him through the hole this time. Angle wasn't quite right. Angle wasn't quite right. I think his approach to the ball could have been better. He had taken a little wider approach, and then he would have had a better chance of getting it.
And you saw the point I'm making. If he's in the middle of the field, it's going to be lethal, because he's going to have options. he could use other players to dribble because he has that sort of natural talent.
Yes.
You know, when the line gets closer and closer to him, that's the time he begs for tough tackles and all that sort of stuff.
I think Garcia has come off. Emmanuel has come off, sorry. Emmanuel Garcia is still on the field. Emmanuel has come off.
This is, what's his name?
On...
What's his number? 11?
No.
Who came on?
10 came off, and Tyrell Sexy Batiste, known to all the Shiva fans as Sexy, the sexiest man in Pinal, has come onto the field. Tyrell Batiste has played for the Shiva boys team primarily in the last 2 years as a sub. Always coming on as a sub, although sometimes I feel he should have started. But because he has been such a successful sub coming on and often giving his team an important goal, his coach Hayden Ryan, who has left him in that situation, and which has continued this year, and he's come on and done similar things for the Shiva boys team, coming off the bench to score crucial goals.
That's a good sign. And as you look at the Shiva guys, I looked at them in 1 or 2 games, and you know they look very matured in the first place, and then individual skill in some cases was very high. Like this kid.
Yes. Now there are a lot of people to be thanked for the Shiva boys' quality this year. Hayden Ryan was the coach, and I have to give him thanks, a lot of thanks for the way he has stuck with that team and what the work he has done with that team. I'm saying so because he himself, a former player of mine, came from a long way, and really is a student of the game and loves the game. And he's still learning and willing to learn. But Dexter Francis has also coached a number of these boys in the southern region. And a number of the boys have come also from Edgar Vidal's camp down in Palo Seco. So they weren't made actually by Mr. Hayden Ryan. These players we have seen come in from a long way away, and there are many people who have contributed greatly to their development.
Yeah, well, that's encouraging, and that's very interesting because it shows why you're seeing some levels of skill that are above the ordinary at school level, and then some of them even more mature than the others.
Yes.
And that's probably the reason for it. A bit of confusion. But one of the things that we cannot get, look at the field, Alvin, and you'd see that there's a 50 by 40 coverage of players, and the whole part of the other field's empty. Look at them, they are no more than about 20 or 30 meters from the ball. And you've seen green grass that we could rent out and probably build a house before they get here. It appears that way because they're not thinking expansively. They're not saying, look, it's clustered on this side, let me come over on this one.
Yes.
It's clustered up here, let me go down further.
And
that's we're not seeing at all.
And what they're doing actually, and we're talking primarily about the players who are in possession of the ball. They need to open, and because they're making it very easy for the defensive team who would like you to close up like that and not be expansive. So it's important when you win possession of the ball that you, on this occasion, you can see it.
About it.
Yes.
There it is.
Yes.
These players out of the game.
Yes.
You understand? These players out of the game. Yes. You've got loopholes inside of there now.
Yes. Oh, well taken by Granger there. Granger taking well. He likes that turn, and he has to watch himself because you may get away with it once, twice, and the third time somebody's going to read you and win it from you.
That's right. That's right.
Be wary of that. It is nice for defenders to have the ability to always come out in possession and keep play with it. But you have to know that out of 10 times, one bad incident of where you're dispossessed in the area or close to the area, and you may be in trouble. And the North team has not really now started to put some passes together.
But they're still not using the width of the field. Look at 14 and 7 with the ball. 4 had time to run up and expand, play it, give somebody else back, and next thing you know, you're in the box.
And especially where he was doing a similar role for Fatima coming wide, he's probably a little restricted in his own thinking at this time, because I'm sure if he was playing for the Fatima team, he would be doing that, because I saw him do it all year with the Fatima.
This is why I'm saying this type of game, you got to know what you're looking for, because you may not see the cohesive methods of some of the players, because they might have 1 or 2 pals in the team from their team, but you don't have a lot of players from one team except Shiva.
The number 16 who has just come on is Spicer, the son of one of the assistant coaches.
I know him. He used to coach at El Dorado, and I know his son and everything. Yeah. He's not a bad player at all.
Yes.
Quite a player. Still holds on a little bit too much at times. Yeah. You know, although he's got the ability to do it, he's got to let them feel, well, I don't want to use it all the time. I want to use it when I'm ready to use it. You know. But yes, I did see him. I look at Fatima a lot now, because my grandson has just gone to Fatima. He's in the under 12 or under 13 team, whatever that is. So I'm keeping my eyes on him. I said, tell him, I said, you know, every day you go on the football field, you've got to be better.
Yes.
He said it's not just going out there and just because the coach says, go out there because you want to become better. I know it's going to be tough for him. 12 years old, you know, he's already, their guy's already 13 years over there, and that sort of thing. Yeah. But what I've done is I've brought him into our academy at under 14, so that he will get tougher a little bit, you know. By the time he gets to 17, you get the amount of kicks you got when you were about
Well, I saw on an under 14 tournament, on the 13 tournament this year, that the TNTFA had a number of boys, some of them from Fatima and St. Mary's, who we will get to know in the future. A number of them probably will be on the national squad. And Trinidad has a lot of talent coming up. It's for us to make sure that we develop it the right way, both on and off the field.
That's right. That's right. That's very true.
The area, Alvin, let me just say that the area, there's Barry Asun getting a chance on goal. He should take a shot.
Yes, that's
he should take the shot.
When he was going there, those guys should have been rushing in onto the 6-yard box.
We've had this dispute before, and I've always said, if there's nobody there,
you can't play it.
You can't play it. Take the shot.
But look where he was running from outside the box.
Yes, but they weren't there.
They were standing and outside. If they had taken off, then they probably would have gotten the square back.
Very easily. But we are reluctant in the Caribbean to take those shots. The Brazilians and the Latin Americans take them all the time.
Oh my goodness.
And Alvin, you used to take them, so don't give me a gun.
You don't have to put a bullet on it. You just have to guide it. You just have to guide it.
Many times I saw you score from bad angles with the outside of your foot, as long as you got it on target. So it's very difficult for a goalkeeper to save it when he's that close, if you put it the right way.
I had a coach called Conrad Braffett.
Yes.
Conrad Braffett said, look, if you've got a talent to use the outside and inside of your foot, I want to see you using it all the time.
Yes.
He said, the outside of his foot is for deception. When you play with the outside of your foot, the player only knows the ball is gone when it's gone already, and that's a fact. Yeah. I didn't know that when I was ball with Conrad. I mean, the Savannah doing stupidness as I thought it was. You know.
Yeah.
This game has lifted itself in enthusiasm, eh?
Yes, there's
started to see a little bit of
there's boys passing it off to Spicer, and Spicer trying to get around his man, couldn't quite get around his man, and corner couldn't make. Overcoming to take it is Hackshaw, who we saw with a beautiful run down the right-hand side, pulling the ball across for Boyce to score. Hackshaw now with the corner. Not a good corner. I must clear the first man. Didn't even get to that.
I'm watching the meter mark for this little fella. He's up in the penalty box. The little guy.
Rodney?
Yeah, Rodney.
Yes.
Up there. He cleared the ball up there. He's coming down with it. You know.
Yes.
It means that he's doing his job.
Yes.
You know, I don't think it was fair that we shouldn't sort of thank Steve David for this project. This is a wonderful thing.
Oh yes.
It's not been done for the country, and it exposes these kids across the board.
Yes,
You know,
yeah.
those who are looking at it and oh, look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. And you know why he didn't have options? Because the guys were in on the line and not by the 6-yard box.
Yes.
So he had to decide, okay, I'm going to goal. If they were on the line, he'd roll it back for them.
Yes.
Yes. So Steve has done a really good job, and he's had some of the former players who have always been led to believe that this is a form of appreciation for these players. And you know, so many people come to shake your hand and say, you know, hey, I hear about you and I see you on the papers, but I don't know you. And there they had Leroy De Leon, really icons of football. Everett Cummins, who in my opinion is probably the most impacting of all the players of a long time, simply because of the fact that he held various areas of the game. He was a player, top player in my opinion, and he had a good coach, a good team, well coached, you know. So it was, I'm happy to see Everett come in and sort of get if you didn't get a chance to talk to some of these guys.
Yeah, well, I'm going in down now to get some of the icons who Alvin just spoke about. As we see a shot by Barry soon go over the bar, he had a chance. I'm going to talk to them now while I leave Alvin for a few minutes. Alvin,
okay.
I can go down?
Well, we certainly had a bit of excitement there. I thought it was good for the goalkeeper to have come off the line. Otherwise, it would have been a much easier one. He lost his way at a moment in time, but in truth and fact, he got up rather quickly. So again, we are looking at some of the outstanding players out of the Colleges League. Some of them easy to recognize because of their individual skill. Others got good work rates. We're watching at a defender out of the North team, wearing the number 5 shirt, and I was very impressed with him, as a matter of fact. Abram is his name, and he's done very well. He's been very steady in the process. The game was sort of dominated by South in the first instance, but this didn't happen for very long. This is a lovely ball, and once again we see coming across the park on the 6 from the right hand side. There was still nobody. We're watching. These players are probably getting a little bit tired in their legs because the opportunities are showing up. Let's see what's going to happen here. Yes, and this is a good try. This is a very, very good try indeed. Maybe not getting the goal, but that's the way it goes. And so far, no goals have been scored, but no one can say really and truly that this is not an exciting second half. I'm sure that these two teams from North and South, or Northeast and Tobago and South and Central, they'd want to have bragging rights on this one. Once again, there's a lot of cluster in the middle of the field, so therefore the ball changing teams rather quickly. Comes right with once again we find the players dribbling into tight situations. It may look nice, but it's lost in the process, and this is what we need to get away from. When you run into traffic, make sure that you find a way out to be expansive and to be deep as well. Play the ball back, get it across to the other side, because teams cannot defend on both sides of the field at the same time. So if there's traffic on the left-hand side, it's no point trying to go in there and go through them. It's much better to just swing it around and get it over on the far side, which we have not seen a lot of in this game. But as I was, my partner has gone, Alvin Henderson, who knows a lot more of these players, but I'm looking at these kids and seeing a future in a lot of them. Some of them are outstanding in terms of their individual skill. Others are definitely understanding the game as a whole, and not just dribbling or shooting. Was one, as we have seen. We saw some of the guys in the center field for South doing very well.
I'm talking now to Ian Bain, another St. Mary's player, former St. Mary's player, just like the minister, and my midfielder who didn't give me as many goals in my final year of school because he left me there alone and went away, but I've forgiven him since. And Ian, my friend, what do you think of this effort, Ian?
Well, I really would like to congratulate Stevie and Steve for choosing this effort. It's wonderful to see this being renewed. The North-South rivalry is something that we played when we were younger and really enjoyed, and many of our friendships from football have come from these games. Now, I think there is a little bit more, it's more important because a lot of these boys are being now seen by college coaches who have come from the US to see them play. So the opportunity to get scholarships to go abroad, obviously, is something that I think a lot of these young men are focused on. So again, I really like to congratulate Steve and Ask TV for producing this effort and helping us improve the footballing situation here at home.
And I haven't forgotten you, Tim, former regiment national player, Tim Lankin. Tell me what you think of this effort, Tim.
I think this effort, Alvin, is long overdue. It has given the youngsters the opportunity to showcase their talent, at least out of the college's league season, and also possibly giving them the opportunity to acquire scholarships abroad. And I think this should be an annual event. And all congratulations to Steve and his team. And I hope that he gets the government support and also the corporate society, the corporate groups in the business community in this country. I think this is fantastic, and at least the crowd is encouraging, and we look forward to this being an annual event. Thank you.
Yes, we've had a lot of icons in the crowd. And Steve, what do you think of the effort today? What do you think of the response?
Oh, I think it's great. We are having a good game from the kids. They're trying their best. The South team is trying to equalize now. The North team is one goal up, but exciting. I'm proud of the kids.
Yes, everybody's talking about the wonderful effort that you've put forward. And the number of people who've told me that they're willing to support this next year, make sure you call on them very early.
I will, just give me the names of those people. Thank you.
Yes, here I can't forget my old nemesis and former players who I played against. I've seen Leroy De Leon and George Romano. I'll just talk to Leroy first. Leroy, what do you think of the effort here?
I was just telling George, it's excellent. If this is just the beginning, I looked at the stands here and it's a nice little crowd. He was just telling me that they have some tournament in Makoya right now, some college tournament. That's why a lot of the teams are not here. But if this is done properly, this should be excellent. And it looks like it's coming back in our days when we used to have a North-South colleges. And this is fun for me, and it will be fun for other people. I see some good football too. I see some decision-making that are questionable, but these are young people. So having fun anyway.
Yes. George, what do you think of the effort?
I think the effort is wonderful. I think this is the effort we should have had implemented a few years ago, not just today. But I'm here watching this, and it's bringing back memories of what we used to be and what we used to like. So I'm happy that I'm here, and I'm happy that it's going on.
Yes, as I said, two former nemesis on the field of play for both for Belmont Intermediate and for the great St. Benedict's. But
nothing. Great St. Benedict's.
No, the great St. Benedict's.
Oh, look at this.
But even Leroy De Leon would tell you, what goes around comes around, and St. Benedict's got their WhatsApp-manship in 1968. Last but not least, I'm talking to Larry Joseph here. Larry, what do you think of this effort that Steve has put on here?
Oh, fantastic duck. Brings back the North-South of the years gone by. So hopefully it's the beginning of more of the same in the coming years. Wonderful event today.
And our crowd seems to be a little more than the Pro League crowd.
A lot more, unfortunately, but yes, so it shows the interest for any North-South encounter. I think it brings back memories people have fond memories of North-South. So I think it's something to build on, and hopefully it could only get better from here on.
That's the reason why he's so well respected here. And the fact that he's brought this game here, that means better, and he can influence people like Alvin Henderson, who's next to me back, after talking with one or two of these fellas. And Everett Cummins is here, Leroy DeLeon, Jan Stedman. Oh, it's amazing. I'm pleased to have come today simply because of the fact I don't get the opportunity to see these guys. And when we played, we always saw each other, regardless of which team you played for. It doesn't matter. Today, it doesn't happen.
Yes, there were a lot more North-South games and a lot more games where we played against each other.
Yeah.
Even from the college league level.
Yeah.
And then we played colleges playing the Port of Spain Football League and
That's
colleges playing the SFL. So players in the colleges got a chance to play, as they said, big man football at an early age.
Yeah.
And especially to learn from it.
Yeah, and I'm happy about it. I hope that the schools will take a better interest in terms of organization. A lot of these schools don't like to practice during the January, June, which is stupid. You need to be practicing all the time if it's 1 day a week. These schools need to be having these kids on the field. You can't go in August to start a competition in September. It just doesn't make, but it's not enough time. I think you would remember when you were at St. Mary's. We used to go out to Tobago for a week. We used to have camp in the August. We had 1-day sessions during the cricket season. And they got better results.
Yes, of course. And many people didn't realize that St. Mary's used to go to these camps. We went to camps in Alvin, you were there with us in Tobago. Right. We also went to camps in Grenada and in Barbados and whatnot. Yeah. So in those days, people prepared better. It was more intense, and people took the preparation part of it very seriously.
Well, we used to have blackboard sessions in camp, so the understanding was so much better. I remember one or two particular teams at St. Mary's College that I coached, and boy, those fellas were just gems. You know, at the year that you play, you all had the final year you played. And then, of course, you left us with a guy called Luciano Woodley, who I thought was an athletic sprinter, turned out to be a goal scorer.
Yes, Luciano, my former roommate, told me when I was leaving, Alvin, I will break your college league football record, and he did.
He did, yes.
He did, and he did it in the next year. Yeah. So as soon as I left, he broke my goal scoring record, a record that I had broken from Sheldon Gomes, who many people didn't even know played football.
Oh, he was a good footballer.
Yeah, excellent footballer as well as a cricketer.
But you know, you guys are a different caliber. I'm sorry to say it, but it's true. You know, a different caliber. I remember a little fella called Neil Williams.
Yes.
If they had too many players better than Neil Williams in the country at the time, I would like to have seen them.
Yes.
He was just a wonderful ball player.
Yes.
He had a high work rate, he had tremendous skill, he could pass the ball well. You know, I really thought a lot of him in the days. Actually, he was second. Ian, I used to respect a lot when he played, and then Neil came up in the next year. It's amazing when you get kids like that. This one looks, it's a good save, son.
Yes, Hackshaw again with his dribbling ability, showing people that he can do it with both feet on a right or left. And he's somebody I have earmarked, Alvin, to rise to the top, number 13, Hackshaw.
Well, it certainly is, you know.
I have told people to put special attention to him. He seems to have
he was in the youth team, wasn't he?
Yes,
he was in the youth team.
He has the educational ability as well to get
this kid is going to want to dribble his weight.
Rodney, I love.
Oh, this is good. That's what he should be doing. No, leave it to the other guy. That was a perfect cross.
Yes.
You know, perfect laid on the ground. And, you know, I'm just not respecting the skill. You got to get over the ball.
Yes. Judah Garcia had the chance. His teammate at the Chiva Boys, Rodney, laid on a pass on a platter for him, and he lifted it, didn't get his head over the ball, was perhaps looking up at the crowd to say that he scored before he had the chance.
That's right,
and his technique was way off, and as a result the ball went over the bar.
Yeah. This is certainly very interesting. It's interesting even to just assess players. Now, if I had been more involved with this, I would certainly have had a player assessment sheet and look at these players in this game, and then look at them in 3 years' time, and see if the stats on their performances went any better or any worse. You know, that's one of the things that I used to enjoy doing from the time you guys were growing up. Because on the first coaching course, I went and say, look, if you want to know your players, assess them. And not only assess them today, assess them next year, and then the following year, and so on. So you could follow the ratings of your own players for years. You know, I did that with Stern John when he was 13 years old. And we looked every year, and every year he went on and on. When I took him to school in the States, we took him to the pros. He went to the New Orleans team first, and then he went to the Columbus Crew, and he was improving all the time. So when you get that type of player, then you're better able to assess the country's football from youth to senior level. It can't be done now.
Yes, and goal scorer Ronaldo Boyce is coming off, and he's been replaced by Nathaniel Piru, number 6. Boyce should have had 2, easy one in the first half. Didn't quite put away, but he made up for it with a goal in the second half.
Leaving the field, player number 9, Ronaldo Boyce, and he was replaced by number 6, Nathaniel Peruz.
Oh, wait until he waited until he went offside. You should have played it first time.
Yes, he could have easily played the ball into the space. He could always run onto it.
That's right.
And he didn't need to make it a fine decision, which didn't go his way. Alvin, one of the players that also interested in number 7 here, Fatima Boy. I think we will see him in future years. The younger Arahu Wilson, I should say, brother of.
This is the one.
This is Justin on the field here.
Right.
Number 7, Justin Arahu Wilson. Talented player.
Yeah.
And I think number 7 there. I think he eventually will find his way on to both junior and senior national teams. Again, he's left-footed forward with the dribbling and shooting ability.
This one here, the Arahu boy. 16. No, look at the other brother here.
This is Spicer here. There are 2 boys. Yeah.
This one number 7. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was yesterday.
Yeah.
Right, very good.
Yes, and here's Arahu Wilson, the player who we just identified. Player with ability. He's a young player, but I think he has the ability to go far in the game if he continues to progress at the rate that I've seen him do so.
It's funny that when we were looking at the start, we were looking at the South team, and they were being very cohesive at times in terms of what's due. The passing lanes were good and everything else. And all of a sudden, something snapped in this team, and they took it over and started with a little bit more purpose.
Yes,
interesting, isn't it?
Yes, Alvin. I said I'll give them 20 minutes. You thought that was a little too much.
Yeah.
But we had a good game as a result.
Yeah.
Because South with the mainly Shiva boys coordination, ready-made coordination, North had to put it together, and they did.
Yeah.
And now we've seen a good game as a result of the 2 teams equally attacking both goals.
Yes, well, they're probably taking a bit of a breather. They've got a tough season, didn't they?
Yes.
Much football in a short space of time.
It hasn't been easy for some of these colleges playing 2 games a week.
That's right.
And and also
these bones,
people forget.
Look who I'm telling, but these bones are not fully grown yet.
And a number of these boys sometimes travel quite long distances to get to the schools that they are at. They're not in the neighborhood.
Yeah. You see?
And here's Quinn Rodney again.
No, you know what bothers me about the Rodney boy?
Yeah.
When he picks the ball up now, nobody responds to movement because they know that he's going to dribble once or twice. So that could be his deterrent at this point in time. He needs to get out of that and use it sparingly.
what we saw there was a very good pass from Garcia going through the defense. The goalkeeper came out to try and smother it. He didn't quite get a hold of it. It ran over to the left-hand side. Cross came across, and there was Rodney on the far post, waiting gently to usher it into the goal.
Yeah, that was a good pass as well, behind the backs of the defense.
Yes.
There's nothing you could do about that, but they keep on the ground.
Yes.
So, well, it's just appropriate that a few goals are scored so that people could go home and say, you know, we saw some excitement.
Yeah.
Because we just wanted to marionettes and to pick up
Yes, so the game is now a 1-1 draw, a 1-1 tie at the moment. Still have time to play. Let's see if we could get the winner from one of these teams here.
For these All-Star Scout team on number 16, Rodney Quinn.
Rodney Quinn, Quinn Rodney.
All-Star Scout 1, All-Star Scout 1.
No, I don't know what rules they're playing under. I don't know if they're going straight to penalties, which would be nice to see the skill of some of the players at the penalty kicker.
South never beaten us, so therefore you kill yourself. Why are you asking that question?
Yes, I'm sure there's going to be penalty kicks or kicks from the penalty mark, as my father always used to say, rather than penalties. Kicks from the penalty spot if there is not a decisive goal scored in the last few minutes. Yes, we've seen some fight here. We thank Alvin Cornell for joining us all the way from the north, and we know he has to get back up there. Good to see you, buddy. And it was good to see him.
We give North people a curfew to get out.
Yes, we give them a curfew to get out of South quickly. I'm a transplanted Southerner.
I recruited him, so we'll let him tell him.
The recruited expired.
Yeah, and Larry, who often has been one of the guest commentators on Field of Dreams with Steve and myself. Larry, not a bad game that we've seen. We've seen some interesting football from some of the team, the South team, dominated by the Shiva boys, especially in midfield. We've seen some collective passing from them. The finishing hasn't been quite as expected, but we don't always see that in All-Star games.
Correct, Alvin. And as All-Stars game go, there usually is a little tentative play at the start, feeling out each other. As the game has developed, we're starting to see the game itself open up, and even North started to come more into the game in the second half, and they scored first, causing South to have to come out and play. And fortunately for the South team, they managed to just equalize. And right now the game is in its dying stages and everybody's pushing for the winner. So let's see what happens.
Yes, and Mason's had in midfield has had a lot of the ball. He's dominated the ball in the middle of the field and made some quite decent passes. Hackshaw on the ball now has come into his own with some neat dribbling. Here goes Justin Arau Wilson. Not able to get around his man, and I think he's fouled his man and given away a free kick.
Well, the Hackshaw guy playing for the North team, I thought had a pretty decent game, Alvin. I think it was from his cross the goal was scored.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was looking at him in the first half, and he does seem to be a pretty decent player.
Yeah.
There is no clear winner. The two teams shall go in kicks to the penalty mark.
So we know for sure now that it's been announced. Kicks from the penalty mark if there's no clear-cut winner at the end of the 90 minutes. Here's Barry Asun trying to get the ball across. but it's taken away by the North players. There goes to, to Powell and then to Justin Arau Wilson trying to get in. Granger using his dribble in the back. Sometimes coaches' hearts in the mouth with things like that.
Even spectators. But it's good to see that type of composure for a college player playing in that sensitive position. Yeah, it's good to see it.
And we're going from end to end because both teams are pushing to try and get something. There's a long ball from Quinn Rodney. I think that's Payne. No, Andrew. And a long shot there from Judah Garcia.
Well, I think we almost full time, Alvin. The referee is looking at his watch. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the last kick of the match.
Yes, I think we've had a good game. It's turned out to be what we expected and perhaps a little better than we expected for the first one. I expect this to continue on a regular basis. I would like to see it supported more by corporate TNT. There's no reason why something like this should not be supported, both by corporate TNT and the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association, which I know on this occasion has also helped out.
Well, at least from the crowd support, Alvin, it's a very enthusiastic crowd. I think that in itself sells the product going forward. And I believe that Steve and his group should be able to build from today's event. And I agree with you. I think it's something that corporate Trinidad should get involved in because it's a great product. And everybody could win with an event like this.
Nice. Not bad at all.
Yes. One of the things that I felt should have come from a situation like this, I know it may be difficult with exams and coming to Christmas, but I've always felt that, and especially now, as the games of college games in Jamaica are being televised and the games in Trinidad are being televised, that we could have either an all-star Jamaica team from or the best team from Trinidad and Tobago going up, the intercol winners going up to play the national winners of the Manning or Walker Cup in Jamaica, and so that we could see the best of Jamaica play the best of Trinidad. Perhaps an all-star team, or perhaps the best club team or school team playing against each other.
Well, I know that used to be a fixture in times past, Alvin, where there used to be a combined Trinidad college team that used to go up to Jamaica. So that is something that can be revived or should be revived. Jamaica has always been our perennial opponents at all levels. So it would be nice to revive it at a college level. That looks like the game, Alvin.
Yes, at the end of the game, the 90 game, and a number of people would say a justifiable score from the runner player of the game. The South Central team, I should say, came out and were better organized in the early part of the first half and the middle of the first half. The North Tobago and East team started getting their act together, and they came out and had, I think, a better second half. Justifiably got on the board first, and South then had to fight back to get their goal, and they were playing, they had to up their game to play, and we saw good performance from many of the players here.
Yes, Alvin. I think the score reflects the run of the game. I think South dominated the first half, and North definitely came into it in the second half and were much stronger. And so we go to penalties.
But Alvin, if you were the captain and you taking the toss for the penalties, what would you prefer to do first?
No, I'd always kick first because you then put pressure on the player who's coming after. especially if you could kick and get off the mark first. There's extra pressure on the people kicking second.
So
Here's Mason. He walks up to it on an excellent penalty, and he has put it in the corner.
In the meantime, we ask the following individuals to make yourselves available for the presentation of the trophy and medals. Mr. Darrell Smith, the Minister of Sport and Youth Affairs, Mr. William Wallace, President of the SSFL, Steve David,
and let's see who this is.
and Mr. Arthur Francois. You make yourselves available.
I'm not seeing that number clearly.
Looks like 12.
For the presentation of
Looks like 12.
trophy and medals.
12 or 13. Is he number 13? From the north. Oh, lovely penalty.
That is a real penalty.
Lovely penalty. No chance of it.
So who's going? That's number 5. That's 5?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have. Yes, and now we see the second kick. It's 1-1 at present. Second kick for the South Central team. Here it goes. And South has gone on top, and this looks like Matthias Granger.
This time it's a South All-Star 2.
Matthias Granger and captain of this team from my alma mater, St. Mary's, who's coming up to take it. I don't think he's a regular penalty kicker for St. Mary's. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with this kick.
Well, as the captain of the North team, let's hope that he converts his chance.
And just as we have seen Denzel Smith in the Intercall series recently with Shiva Boys, Denzel Smith has continued saving penalties to put his team on top. And here we go with another Shiva Boys outstanding player, Barry Asoon, Junior Asoon, who's coming to kick. And he will put real pressure on the North East Tobago team if he scores this one. Let's see what Barry Asoon does.
And he scores. So the pressure now is on the North team to stay in this penalty shootout.
Yes, interesting penalty by Asoon. He played it with the inside of his foot, made sure that it was very tight going down in the corner, and a very well taken penalty. And I'm not quite seeing the number for this player coming up to take it. Looks
He's right-footed, so he wouldn't need to turn the shoot
Yes.
in our direction.
Here it comes. It's Arahu Wilson, number 7.
So it's now after 3 attempts.
Justin Arahu Wilson, who put a nice penalty down high up into the left-hand side that the goalkeeper had no chance with.
None whatsoever.
It's still a lead by 1 penalty for the South Central team.
Number 4? Who's number? We don't have what? The South.
Number 4, yes, number 4 is I think that is that Barrington yesterday.
The third attempt scored by South, so they lead now 4, South goes for 2.
And this is a very important penalty here, because if he doesn't score,
that's it, South win.
That's it, and the trophy will go to the South College League team. Is he a left-footed player? Right-footed player. Who is this? Abraham kicking? I'm not sure. We'll see. Yes, I think that was Andrew Abraham from Fatima coming on to kick that penalty kick, and the South team, you could see this meant a lot to them. They wanted to win this game. There was a lot of talk even beforehand that they would win this game, and they did what was necessary, but they just got it through on the penalty shootout. Larry, thank you for being here.
Welcome.
Got a few words before we go?
Hopefully Alvin will be back, if not at this venue, but at another venue for another Colleges All-Star game, because today has been very encouraging. I would say fantastic. So hope it's not just a one-off.
Yes, and we have to thank again Axe TV and the Field of Dreams show with Steve David and his crew for organizing this event today, so that we would have an outstanding show and a show for the coaches to see the outstanding players of the SSFL.
Of the goalkeeper of the South team, MVP, Leslie. Winning coach of the South Coastal team.
Okay, with me here is the captain of the winning All-Star team, the South All-Star team, Judah Garcia. Judah, first of all, what was your experience like playing in the first All-Star Colleges League event?
The experience was great, you know, coming in with a combination of the best players from South and Central. You know, it was a tough battle to even pick the team. But I'll say thanks to Sean Cooper, really got us in shape in the 2 days of training alone and really prepared us for this. And I can see that we worked for the victory this evening.
What would you like people to know? For those who did not attend today, what would you like them to know about this event?
What I like them to know about this event, it was fun, exciting, it was a tough match. You can see that the supporters really came out and it was just a great feeling being in this event.
And I realize you had your posse from Penal here with all them.
Sure, they always come out and support us.
Congratulations and all the best.
Yeah, man.
Okay, I will be here, the assistant coach, Dunstan Williams. Victory came by way of the South All-Stars after a 1-all evenly contested match. First of all, tell me your thoughts on this first ever All-Star weekend and what was the whole experience like for you and the members of the team, especially coaching a number of guys from different teams.
All right, first of all, I say hello to San Fernando and Trinidad and Tobago. I think this was a really good effort. Possibly we had some teething problems, but for us, Sean and I mean, our first All-Star game as coaches, and we had some teething problems in terms of after our session yesterday, some of the guys went to Marvin Lee Stadium to play in the tournament put on by Unveil magazine. So it affected the way we wanted to play right through the game today.
What was your whole impression on the performance of the team? Just getting them for a short period and putting on a event like this?
I mean, for us, I'll talk about South. It was a really, really good experience for us. I mean, it's a talented bunch. We had a difficult time picking our final 18. But I think these guys, most of them are knocking on the doors of the national under-20 team. So it was very easy for us football-wise. What we tried to get is some tactical awareness of how we wanted to play.
Looking back now at the event, we had some critics, we had some people who, but what's your overall view of this whole thing?
I think it's tremendous. I think my thing is education. I think we need to educate the kids on what the event is all about, why it is being put on. Obviously, it needs more time. And when I say more time, more planning time, so that if at the beginning of 2018 season, we know when the date is. So not only you could plan, but the players could plan themselves, because this is all about the players really. And that avenue that they could go and further their football careers, either by a scholarship or by a professional or semi-professional team abroad.
Well done, son. Thanks again and all the best.
Yeah, thanks again, George, for having us.
Okay, with me here is the President of the Secondary Schools Football Association, Mr. William Wallace. And first of all, Mr. Wallace, I want to say thank you very much for endorsing this event and welcome us on board. And tell me a bit about your first experience here looking at this event this afternoon.
Well, it was a must-endorsed event. I think this is something that Trinidad and Tobago was looking forward to. We have been on the ground and we have been getting feedback from Trinidad and Tobago. So we knew that this is something that they were looking forward to. And for the first effort, I'm extremely happy with what we saw here today. We had quality football on the field of play. And of course, the support was beyond expectations as far as I am concerned. Knowing fully well that it was a short time that we had to organize, knowing that we had another event in the north. So I'm certain next year, whichever stadium we choose to have this event in would be packed.
Okay. Let me say thank you very much, and we really appreciate your effort.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we have here Denzel Smith, the MVP, and also a special award for the best goalkeeper on show. I think it's the first time that an MVP got another award. Tell me about your performance today.
Well, my performance was great. I mean, Lappy was 1-0 down, coming back from behind again, and going down to penalties and just doing it for my team once more.
Now, this is your first All-Star game that you took part in. What was the experience like? What will you go back and tell the guys who weren't here, who weren't part of this?
Well, I will say never miss an All-Star game in life again. It was very great knowing that the atmosphere was cool, everything was just cool, and wish to be on the next All-Star team again.
Thank you very much and all the best.
Thanks.
Okay, I have with me here Gabriel Nanton from St. Mary's College. Your first All-Star event. What was the experience like for you?
It was a wonderful experience to be part of this. You know, it's the first one they having, and I feel honored to be part of this. Thank you.
For those who weren't here, when you see them, what are you going to tell them?
Well, they had to stay humble. They're not to tell them something. If they ask me anything, it's to tell them that you just had to keep working hard and to try to aspire to get on the team.
But you truly enjoyed this event.
It was a great event. It was very organized, I find, to a point, and it was a good event to be a part of.
Thank you very much and all the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, joining me here is Sean Cooper, head coach of the South All-Stars. Sean, congratulations first of all for your first All-Star win. Tell me, what was this experience like for you, and how would you, rate this event here this afternoon?
Well, firstly, thank you for having this event. It was a wonderful experience. It's the second time I'm an All-Star coach. In 2008, I was the All-Star coach going to Jamaica, and now we started back the All-Star experience here today. It was talent in abundance. I don't think you could have gotten a better turnout also today. I think you all put on a wonderful event.
Okay. Anything you would like to share with the public, because you know that there were little issues surrounding this event, right? For those who didn't take part in it, what message would you like to send to them?
Well, I could only speak for the South team. Basically, there were a couple of Naparima players who did not attend. I think it's more their loss than a gain, because the experience here was a wonderful one. In playing with great players, upcoming players, and in the presence of a foreign scout. And presence of scouts, I think the event was one for the South team. We had a decent team. I think we had probably about 98% of the players we selected. So we weren't missing too much. So I think it all depends on who is in I won't say control, but who is at the helm. I think the players had the respect of the staff, and they all attended all the training sessions. So the only thing was they end up going and play in the footy footy fest. Yeah. They went and played in the footy fest after training yesterday. So you see at certain parts of the game they were looking a little wary, and I think after the first goal scored, they decided, hey, let's put everything into it. And then I think the South team came back, we got the equalizer, and then finished off with the trophy. So it was a wonderful.
Nevertheless, we want to say thank you very much. Really appreciate what you have done for here this evening, and we look forward to having many more events, and maybe, you as another All-Star coach.
Thank you very much. Thanks to your ACTN 9. Oh, great job, guys. Great job.
Thank you.